Steve Morgan here, Australian Bass Tournaments. We've just finished the Sunline round of the Daiwa BREAM Series in 2023, and we've got a man back to bream fishing. He's been dabbling in not bream fishing for a while, but it's sucked him back in. And Kris Hickson, you don't even know what number win this is for you, but you went fishing out there and you caught more bream than anyone else.
Yeah, apparently so. I had a pretty good weekend, actually. It was really fun. It was my sort of deal. Shallow water, sight fishing, calm, shallow, it was fun.
Take us through, when you say shallow water sight fishing, explain a bit of the situation, what you like doing. Tell us how deep the water is, how clear it is, and what's in there.
So generally, not crystal clear, but clear enough that you can see what's going on. And in this place, if you get too much wind, you get a lot of stirred up water or too much boat traffic and you can't see enough of what's going on. I like to be able to see what I'm casting to. Yep. It varied on depth, sort of from the bank, 6 inches of water, all the way to maybe 3-4 feet of water. And the structure changed the whole way. I really didn't have any spots that I wanted to fish this weekend. After practice, I did. And then after the first day, every one of those had a boat on it, and I just went fishing where I could. So it was just pick a bank, go and fish everything that's there. You come across patches and hopefully catch them.
Explain to the guys about this phenomena of black bream just sort of cruising around in full sight, not caring about anything in the world.
It's been happening since I first started fishing in Malacoota. We call them grey nomads because they just sit and float along and they look really grey. Most of the time they don't eat. You throw it enough, the odd one does. But there was a few of those today, or all over the weekend. A few fish digging on the edge, so a bit like Malacoota of old, where you saw the fish really shuffling in the mud, trying to get something out, cast to it, drag it past, hope you don't spook it, wait for them to eat it. I've got a couple of fish like that this weekend, which is really cool. And the rest of it's just, throw at a snag, a rock, a mud pile, or whatever's there, or just a cruising fish. And if you throw enough of them, one eats it sooner or later.
You did it the right way. You caught the biggest limit of the tournament on the harder second day because the catches sort of dropped down a little bit today because those popular spots, I suppose, get hit pretty hard. And after 3 days of getting hammered, the big ones start tightening up. I suppose that's the advantage of your style of fishing, is you're just looking for spots that people aren't on.
And essentially that's all it was. Like I'd go to a spot that I really liked or liked the look of, fish it, possibly catch one, but then just keep going after it. And quite often you'd come across a really big patch of fish that was better than anything you had before. So staying away from people this weekend I think helped. I think a lot of people weren't fishing the same style of fishing that I was either, because I did drop in on a few banks behind people that they'd just done, especially if I saw them working a little bit wider, and I caught fish through there as well. The fish was still there. So
take us through this gun bait you got in your hands here.
Yeah, so I used pretty much just creature baits, 6 pound leader. So the risky critter cut down. I fished that one on about a 28th head. You needed to be able to cast a fair way this style of fishing so you're not spooking the fish. That one cast really well and it was a good sink rate. Nice small profile. And then the other one was actually this Berkeley little trooper that I found a packet of in the car. That did pretty well today. And I put it on one of the new Bait Junkie jig heads and I was just cutting the head off everything because our hidden weights aren't finished yet. So make a hidden weight. And that little trooper, the sink rate, the castability, and how it stayed on that head, I could really, if I thought a fish had it and I gave it a big rip to set the hook and he didn't have it, it wouldn't fly off, whereas a lot of other stuff would. So that was a pretty big advantage. Today they seem to fire up if you did miss them and you get another chance. That generally doesn't happen here.
Yep. Take us through that outfit you were chucking them on, mate. That's one of the in-feet rods that we had a fair bit to do with making them.
Yeah, so I did use quite a few different rods over the weekend. The one that I was using most of the time yesterday actually broke this morning. I picked it up and then I dropped it and I cracked the tip off it. So that one went in the box. Then it was up to the next one, and essentially anything around 6'10" to 7'2" light action I'd use this weekend, because it didn't matter that much. So long as I could cast it far enough and set a hook, I was all good. So this one's a 722 LRS in the EX range. I favoured that just for the casting distance today more than anything because it was so calm. Yesterday I was using a 6.8 LRS in the Z range. It was a bit more tight to structure, a bit more accurate. Caldia 2,500 reel and the new Saltiga 8 braid, 8 pound or PE 0.8 braid. That was a pretty good help too. It was really like it cast a long way with a lightweight 6 pound J-thread leader. Away we went.
So let me guess this right. Your nickname, Captain Risky, probably had something to do with the naming of the risky critter.
A little bit.
Now, you won a tournament on it.
Yeah, and I caught a pretty cool fish on it today, actually. I just busted one off in a tree, and I saw a big black bream rolling in one of his digs. So I crouched down and knelt down, got a good little cast in there, and he swam straight over and munched it.
There you go, mate. But another year where a Victorian doesn't win on their home waters at Mallacoota, mate. Often it takes locals, I suppose, a fresh set of eyes, I suppose, on there to fish some of these spots, because Malacoota, fish are everywhere, aren't they?
They are generally everywhere. And I think the fact that they're so hard to catch on the edge in that shallow water and they're so spooky put a lot of people off. Like today I was getting a lot of bites and catching a fair few fish. And there just didn't seem like there was that many people doing the same thing. So I, clearly found something there that no one else was willing to do, and it paid off.
There you go. That's what you want to do at a tournament. So he is back, Captain Daiwa, winning the Daiwa tournament. It's sponsor karma, mate. It happens all the time in this skill. Anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, Daiwa, ABT, Manning River Marine, and Braden for lending me the boat for the weekend. I wouldn't have got down here if someone didn't lend me one, because I sold mine and went travelling for 12 months.
There you go. Kris Hickson, he is back.